Oh man, let's give people enough time to come up in the room. In the room. Make sure. All right. Somebody said our mental health issues is never taken serious. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Now today I'm going to be talking about mental health. So you might not get a lot of foundational Black Americans that show up to talk about this, right? With the events that's went on in the last couple of days with the Justin Fairfax situation down there in Virginia, and the situation with Elkins down there in Shreveport, Louisiana. I'm seeing a lot of people online, voicing their opinions. You have people that are upset. You have like a lot of women now pushing their agenda about black femicide, and you have a whole bunch of things going on. But the one thing, one thing that I'm not seeing is something that I've been pushing and talking about for a very long time in the black community, and that's mental health issues, mental health disorders. In the black community, that's something that people don't want to talk about. But when you're online and you see a lot of these people that come online, even some people, even some of the ones that build big audience, they all suffer from mental health issues. A lot of these people are crazy out of their goddamn mind. A lot of them are. People use mental health as a crutch, but you can't say that if you never dealt with mental health issues. I mean, today I'm not doing that. I don't want nobody coming in here saying you use mental health as a crutch if you never suffered from mental health issues. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to you, but these are the things that we do in the black community. I suffer from mental health issues. You are looking at a man right here standing in front of you, Bishop George Bacon, that at 50 years old, about to be 51, 2 times in my life I attempted suicide. So don't tell me about something used as a crutch if you never experienced it. Mental health issue is a sickness. And in the black community, is undiagnosed. I survived through it. I went and got the help that I needed, and I'm able to sit here before the people today and talk. And I'm passionate about this because in our community, mental health is frowned upon. But we are, see, this is the thing. This is the thing, Flies. We talk about racism and white supremacy and the things that we've been through. We see murders in the community. A lot of us grew up without our parents. We grew up without so many different things, and we really believe and think that we come out unscathed. We really believe and think that we just okay. No, black people in America suffer from mental health issues on so many different levels, but you shower yourself with all kinds of things that you really can't afford or don't need to make yourself feel better. A lot of us suffer from low self-esteem, right? To be a foundational black American in this country with everything that we've been through, you suffer from so much, but we lie to ourselves. And black men suffer in silence. Black men got to worry about the system trying to kill them, another black man trying to kill him, his woman not thinking that he's enough, and him himself not thinking that he's adequate. So a lot of black men suffer in silence. I'm not doing that, Renaissance. Not today. Not today. This might not be the listen. Might not be the stream for y'all, because this is the thing, and I gotta be this way. Today, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Today, I'm breaking down mental health issues in the black community, right? There's a lot of things that happen in our community, and I want y'all to listen to me. There's a lot of things that happen in our communities, right? There's a lot of things that we complain about. This might not be the stream for y'all, because there's a lot of things that we complain about. But when we start, what I've noticed is when we get to the issues, when we get to start talking about the issues, don't nobody want to do the work. See, doing the work to clean up some of this stuff is hard because it makes you have to revisit your bullshit, right? It's not about getting another woman pregnant. See, the act and the behavior is all part of the psychosis. It's all part of the mental health issues, right? See, I can go get a woman pregnant, right? Right? I can do all those things, but that don't mean that I didn't suffer from mental health issues. That don't mean that I didn't have issues already. See, let me say this, right? September 6th, 2006, right? I'll give you a little backstory for me, Renaissance. And if I get a little emotional in this stream, charge it to my heart, right? Charge it to my heart. Because I've been doing streams like this before I started doing the celebrity junk crap. I was doing streams like this 7 years ago when it was Google Hangouts and nobody cared. Nobody cared. I told you, I try to offer myself 2 times. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you where it came from and what happened and what I needed to do in order to get to where I'm at today. I could talk about it now, but when I was going through those things, right? Nobody gave a shit. Nobody checked up on me until after the fact, because we so wrapped up in our own stuff, we don't even see it, right? Also, in my family, mental health issues is a thing. On my mom's side, my mother is sick. When I was a kid, my mother went through what she went through, and she's been diagnosed with schizophrenia, right? That's my mother. On my father's side, my cousin Michael, that was my favorite cousin, he got shot by the police in 2003, and got put in a wheelchair. Him and his wife, no, excuse me, I'm tripping. In 1994, he got shot by the police and put in a wheelchair, right? In 2006, him and his wife was going through something, right? And he was calling around everybody. He was calling around. I told this story before, but some of my new subscribers may not know, right? And like I said, we got 29 people in here. I guarantee you, when I was talking that FBA stuff, we get 1,600. Talking about this, right? What I'm talking about today, oh, you niggas ain't gonna show up. But I guarantee you, a lot of you niggas will be online talking shit about those black men and femicide and pushing all the stuff that the internet pushes. But inside the community, black men is wiping black men out all the time. Y'all don't attribute that to mental health issues. Black boys are committing suicide at an alarming rate. Y'all not going to talk about that, though. You're not going to show up for that. See, this is easy because it's salacious. He killed 8 kids. Well, my cousin Michael killed his wife and both his kids. September 7th, 2006. My cousin Michael was calling around and he was asking everybody, watch how crazy this is. He was asking, yo, if you kill yourself, will you go to hell? And I remember he called, he asked me that. I was like, what you talking about, Michael? Man, you tripping, man. I didn't take it serious. But what I didn't know was he called 5 other people and asked them that. 2 days later, he killed my 2 little cousins, his wife and himself. Nobody seen it coming. Nobody saw it coming. But then we found out that they was going through things, right? This is something that happens a lot. A lot of women suffer from this. A lot of women hurt their children. So today, what I'm saying, I want to talk about mental health issues with black men because they suffer in silence. I don't care if he got a woman pregnant. I don't care if they did this. I don't care if they did that. That has nothing to do with the actual everyday mental health issues that black men suffer from. My issues was, as a young black man, I seen my best friend shot 11 times in front of me and run into the bar and die on the bar floor in front of me with his blood all over me. I seen when I was about 8 years old, a man get his head blown off in front of me, coming out of a store. When I used to come home from junior high school, I remember we had to hide under a car. We had to get on the ground because the JBM and the Jamaicans was having a war in the 80s about 86, a shootout, and we had to hide under cars because they were shooting machine guns. And one of my friends got shot in the stomach. We was about 11, 12 years old. I saw a shootout where we were all on the block, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning on a summer's day, and some guys came through shooting. And everybody hit the ground and hid in bushes and under cars. And when everything was over, everybody was looking for everybody. And one of the young guys, Mike, tried to hide under the car, and the guy shot him and killed him. So for me, I suffer from PTSD. When my best friend was shot 11 times in front of me, that same night, my 3-year-old daughter, who's now 29, was caught in a crossfire. She was shot. My daughter. I didn't know that I suffered from mental health issues and I was out of my mind crazy and that's just a little bit, because I had saw so many different things. I suffer from demons. Didn't know it. In my 20s. Just walking around, do like it's a normal thing. They do something to you, you go back and do it. But how do you go to a therapist and say, hey, I may have been involved in this, so I saw this, without them getting up and calling the police when you leave. So you suffer in silence. You roll them images back in your mind in silence every day, to the point where Satan starts to speak louder than God. But see, people are not going to really be transparent, but that's just my story. A lot of black men suffer in silence from so many different things. You got black men out here that have been molested, and they can't go tell nobody. A woman might admit, no. He feels less than the man. He's struggling with his inner self of who he is, his identity. No, I wasn't in Vietnam. I was in Philadelphia in the 80s and the 90s. You got men that grew up abused. They feel less than. There's a lot of things where people tell men, Joe, just be tough. You're not supposed to have feelings. You're not supposed to have emotions. And a lot of men keep that stuff bottled up until one day it explodes. A lot of times men don't have safe spaces. That's why we at the Fathership Foundation, every Tuesday we have the man-to-man program where men can come in, non-judgment safe spaces, and we have conversations. We talk about fatherhood. We talk about manhood. We got resources to help men get jobs. We got things set in place. Yeah, they have to keep your information locked shut. They can't tell. I'm not sure. Yeah, some of it. And see, a lot of people, I want to say, it's easy. A lot of people like to point fingers, but people don't want to do the work. They'll show up when you talking of things that they agree with. But when you say things that they don't understand, they'll turn on you. That's just where we at. But as a black man in the community, what do I say at the end of all my live streams? I love my people more than they hate themselves, and I pray to the universal creator most high that these words was enough to inspire you. These words were enough to make you look at yourself in the mirror and make change. These words were enough to make you look at your children and know you have to make change. The reason why I say that, because when I come to talk to the people, I understand the condition of the people that I'm talking to and where we come from, the environments that we come from, the households that we come from. And we like to come out and lie. The reason why you see so much verbal genocide online amongst black folks, because you niggas is traumatized. And you bring it to the internet and you do it to each other. Because that's what you was doing before you came to the internet. You got undiagnosed traumas, unresolved issues in your life that's never been diagnosed. I know because I come from it. At one point, I was a detriment to myself and everybody around me. I didn't know that I suffered from lack of not having a mother issue, and I had anger issues. And then you couple that with heartbreak and trauma, and then you get out into the streets and you got to be a wolf amongst wolves to survive. So now you become heartless because you see so many different things, right? And you start to grow a hatred for your own people. I come from that. People see me now. Oh, yeah, I've been married for 25 years, got 4 kids. I wasn't always like this. It was only through the grace of the Most High that I'm like this. But we see that guy, Shamar Elkins, kill himself and 8 children. But we see black boys unalive other black boys every day. To me, it's all the same. It's all the same. All the same within a cycle that needs to be recognized. There's something wrong and there's something going on that's not being talked about. And the thing is, Justin Fairfax killed his wife, right? My challenge to the internet, black internet. Justin Fairfax killed his wife. Shamar killed those children. Every day in cities across America, you got young black boys blowing each other away. How many streams in black YouTube? See, when I make streams about Roland Martin, when I make streams about Anton Daniels, when I make streams about all these other people tune in, but how many YouTube channels right now videos about mental health issues in the black community amongst black men? See, it's easy to come out and make a femicide video and say these men are killing women, black women are not safe. Okay, well, let's deal with why black women are not safe. Oh, I don't want to deal with that. There's no money in talking about that. Let's talk about these niggas killing women and children. Black men are the worst men on the planet. That's a lot of money. It's good to the algorithm. Well, let's talk about mental health issues amongst our sons and husbands, and why and where it comes from. Let's address that. Oh, you won't see one video lined up to talk about that. That's why a lot of you niggas out there are hypocrites and I don't like you. Because you only do this for the money. You don't really care about black people. You don't care about foundational black Americans. Because when stuff get hot and they get in the grease, you're not going to talk about the real stuff. See, I can pull up my channel, my other channels, and show you, matter of fact, and show you everything that I talked about. I talked about molestation of black boys, a silent cry in the dark room. I talked about suicide amongst young black children. Hold on for a second. Hold on. Oh, damn, I ain't gonna be able to pull it up on there. I don't think because I got them on. I talked about all these issues. Nobody cared back then. We was getting 20, 30 people in the room. But if a black man kill a black woman or a black woman kill a black man, all the gender race people show up to say, see, I told you so. But nobody wants to actually deal with the healing process of trying to save and help our people. So when I'm live and I'm telling people, you teach people how to treat you by the way you treat each other. We got to start loving on each other. Oh, that's all sound good until it's time to do the work. So let's get off into these stories, and then we're gonna let's share it. Let's get off into this one. I just want to lay that out first. I don't want none of the gender war people in my chat today. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with none of that. A man killed himself. A man got himself killed. He shot his woman. He shot 8 kids. That's not normal. I don't care if he had another baby. That's not normal. You know what I mean? Hold on. See, this is where the common sense is not there. Do you know how many men cheat on women and don't cheat on women and get caught and don't go kill the women and the children? That happens every day. So you're not going to equate a man having another baby with a woman and then going to kill all his kids and trying to kill her. No, something's wrong in here. Men get caught cheating every day. Men go make babies every day. That don't mean that they go kill everybody. So it's not the same. But y'all get caught up in this internet stuff. This internet gender war crap. Well, let's get off into this. Hold on. What the hell? Oh shoot. That's okay. I was wondering.
Shot and killed 8 children this morning. Tonight, we're learning more about that gunman, Shamar Elkins, who was the father of 7 of those 8 slain children. Tonight, the community of Shreveport has been left shattered. The children, 3 boys and 5 girls, ranging in age from 3 to 11.
Police say the crime scene spans 2 houses. It ended when officers opened fire on the gunman during a police chase. Eyewitness News reporter Tim Pulliam is live now with new details tonight. Tim?
Liz Jory, we now know the names of the 8 kids shot and killed, and we're also learning that the shooter had ties to the military and was known to police. This is a Facebook image of the Louisiana man law enforcement believe is a cold-blooded killer. Shreveport police identifying him as Shamari Elkins, the alleged gunman who shot and killed 8 kids. At least 7 of them were his own flesh and blood. The coroner released their names, a total of 7 siblings and a cousin ranging in age from 3 to 11, Jayla, Shayla, Kayla, Layla, Markaden, Soraya, Kedarian, and Braylon. Neighbors mourned their deaths at the crime scene.
This is not a freaking joke. This is real, and this is the result when someone snaps.
Police are still trying to determine what motivated the shooting. The attack began before sunrise when police say the suspect shot a woman at one home and then drove to another house to unleash more violence.
The gray house is the house in which 7 children were located inside that were deceased. There was an additional deceased child that looked like he had tried to escape the residence out the back on the roof.
Officers say a second woman was shot and is believed to be the mother of the suspect's children. Both women are now in the hospital in critical condition. Officers fired at the suspect during a chase after he carjacked the vehicle at gunpoint. ABC News reporting the 31-year-old joined the Louisiana National Guard in 2013 and served 7 years without being deployed. The shooting took place in House Speaker Mike Johnson's district. He offered thoughts and prayers to the family. The shooting impacting people beyond Louisiana. The mayor of Shreveport highlighting that in his statement that reads in part, "Tragedy like this does not belong to one family alone. It belongs to all of us. Today, our community is grieving the unimaginable loss of innocent children. There are no words that can make sense of it and no distance that shields us from it."
Take out this evil out of our nation, out of our parish, out of our city, out of our lives, God. We know mental illness is real, God.
This attack considered one of the deadliest mass shootings in Louisiana. The community asking for prayers.
This community needs you. I need you. Because how do we get through this?
According to the FBI, domestic violence crimes are up. Between 2020 and 2024, law enforcement reported more than 11,000 domestic violence murder victims. In this case, investigators are still trying to figure out what led up to this shooting. Tim Pulliam, ABC 7, Eyewitness News.
Tim.
All right, so let's go. Let's go over. Hold on. Let's go over here, right? Because before he passed, he had started putting out a bunch of tweets, right? He put out a bunch of tweets, and he put this: Dads, if you can go back in time and have kids with a different woman, but still have the same kids, would you do it, right? So he was putting this stuff out. Shout out to every man who is fixing his life alone. No rich relatives, no favors, no dad's money. Even through losses and disrespect, you'll go far. So he was already showing signs of cracking, right? The pressure was mounting, and the pipes was about to bust. He was understand to be misunderstood, right? Now, for me, when I was going through my mental health issues before I took 26 pills and hit myself under the bed, I was writing poems, and I would write a bunch of writings. Hold on a second, I still got them too. I'll show you. Hold on. I would write a bunch of writings in my down at the time, and I would put it out to make myself feel better when I was going through the things I was going through. But I didn't think that nothing was wrong with me right at the time, and I was putting that stuff out there. Hold on a second. Hold on. What the hell? Hold on. Let's see. Wait a minute. I'll pull it up in a second. So he said, understand to be misunderstood, right? Then he went and he posted this here on April 9th. On April 9th, he posted, what the hell? What the heck is wrong with this thing? Dear God, today I ask you to help me guard my mind and my emotions when negativity arises. Remind me to say it does not belong to me in the name of Jesus. Help me to remember that there is power in your name and that every force not from you must flee. See, when depression tries to settle in, when anger rises, when anxiety or panic comes, give me the awareness to recognize what is not from you and the strength to reject it immediately in the name of Jesus. Fill me with your peace, your joy, and your clarity, and teach me to replace every negative thought with your truth. Strengthen my mind so I can stand firm and not be overtaken by what I feel. Oh, man. I choose to walk in freedom, knowing I am covered, protected, and held by you in the name of Jesus. Amen. So he was already calling out. Wait a minute. I'm trying to find my it's in my phone. I want to show y'all something real quick. Oh, here they go, right here. So I still got them and I put them in my phone. I used to do these when I was in my depression at the time. I would write all these writings. And I would write all these writings, right, and send them like to my family and stuff. But at that time, like, because I write poetry, and I also write like a bunch of writings. So I wrote all this stuff back then, and ain't nobody think nothing was wrong with me. Everybody thought I was cool. Oh man, because I'm always, strong, loud, joking, jovial, but I was suffering in silence on the inside, and I would go into a room and it might be 100 people in there, but I might feel like I'm in there alone. People in there laughing, joking. I'll just be in the room because I had saw so much at a very young age that the brain was underdeveloped and I couldn't comprehend. I couldn't make right with it. Imagine, I remember being 13 years old in a crack house. It's 1988. And I'm in there with some of the older homies. And I remember I'm downstairs in the house and I go upstairs and I hear a woman having sex in the room. And I hear a woman making a bunch of noise. And I go and I look in the room and it's like 5 guys in there with the woman. But I can't see the woman. But mind you, I'm a kid. I'm 13. I go in the room and I look and it's my homie's mom. Now, mind you, I be at her house like every other day. She cooked dinner for us. I didn't know that she was on crack, right, at that time, because this is the 80s and it's not really, it's crackheads, but not it's like they're not cracked all out yet. And my mom saw that, and I remember walking out the room, and she came running out the room and begged me not to tell nobody. Now, how does a 13-year-old brain process that? While at the same time, so I seen all these different things and by the time I got about 16, 17, I was crazy. I was out of my mind. They called me the militant midget. I was crazy. If you wasn't a part of, I was insane. I was a part of that environment at that time. So I'm saying all that to say, there was no there was no there was no mental health awareness. There was nobody. What the fuck was mental health? Mental health? Nobody, man, anybody tell you, they told you, man, to suck it up, man, toughen up. Man, you tough, right? Toughen up. That's what they told you. But when you see so much death, or you experience so much, or you got, remember Tupac said, I swear I saw the devil in my empty glass of Hennessy. How can I say it? You got people's voices, maybe your enemies or something in your ear or whatever, and you running away. I did a video about 3 years ago, running from the demons of your past. And the Most High will allow you to live, but he'll leave the scars to let you know where you came from, what you survived through. And I got a lot of scars of the past, right? So I'm saying nobody cares about the mental health of a black man. Nobody. Not even other black men for the most part. And a lot of black men suffer in silence, but when something like this happens, when this explodes out of control, everybody got something to say. Everybody got something to say. Right? Let's go here. You see how many people showed up for this? This is why I'm telling you I don't respect a lot of people. If I was talking FBA stuff, we have a whole bunch of people in here. If I did a video where I was just going in on these black men, we have a whole bunch of people in here. But because I'm not doing that, because I know for a fact that there's a lot of black boys right now that's suffering in silence that y'all don't give a fuck about at all, because you traumatized, because subconsciously you hate black people more than the white man do, because anytime you ever had something traumatic happen to you, it came from black people. You say you hate this white man, but you hate your own people more. It wasn't a white man that touched you. It wasn't a white man that carjacked you or robbed you or shot you or lied on you. It was your own people. You may not know that he's the grand architect of this whole thing, but you've been hurt by your own people. And we got to call it for what it is. Here we go. Here we go. Hold on. Wait a minute. Oh, okay. Hold on. Wait, what the hell? Oh, that's what I did. I was wondering why y'all couldn't see it. Here we go. So let's go here. No more suffering in silence. Black men demand a space to heal. Right? This is by Andrea Stevenson, right? Afro staff writer, right? Mental health professionals are calling attention to the urgent need for culturally competent care, open dialogue, and systematic reforms as it relates to suicide in the black community. Black men specifically are rarely given safe spaces to feel vulnerable and have even fewer opportunities to build emotional intelligence. Now advocates say it's time for change, right? Jason Jennings Wright, a traveling hospital social worker, psychiatric rehabilitation therapist, and adjunct professor, said many black men are suffering in silence, right? We don't give men, especially black men, space to say, I'm okay, Jennings Wright said. We've internalized the idea that vulnerability is weakness, but that silence is costing lives, right? According to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, the suicide rate amongst males in 2023 was approximately 4 times higher than the rate amongst females. Men make up 50% of the U.S. population, but account for nearly 80% of suicides. Jennings Wright believes part of the issue lies in the stigma and lack of cultural relevant information. If we don't have enough messaging highlighting the importance of mental health in black communities, our own thought process won't allow us to even recognize what's happening inside of us, he said. Right? Mark E. Carrington, a black man who began therapy after experiencing several panic attacks, said generational silence shaped his early understanding of mental health, right? And this is just a typical average looking black man walking down the street. And a lot of you guys, so let me show my face, right? A lot of you guys are tuning in to watch me, right? But not realizing now I'm one of these people, right? That's what I'm saying. So, okay, let me see what you say. I make sure that my 42-year-old son was not in that statistic he loved. He was loved on directed and right. But said I know his father not being in his life was a right. There you go. And we're told to toughen up. I didn't know. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back to the story. I didn't know that most of my trauma stemmed from me not having my mother in my life. I didn't know that until I went to therapy and I had a psych evaluation. I had to get a psych evaluation, right? Twice. I didn't know. It started at 5 years old with my mother and went all the way up to the time I was sitting there getting evaluated. I didn't know. I knew something was wrong, but I seen things. It was just all bad, right? But they tell you, oh man, you all right, man, toughen up, man. You tough, right? Right? The environment. And like you said, it's a form of weakness, not knowing you dying inside. Let me tell y'all something. For another black man, let's just put these two stories to the side for a minute. For another black man to get a gun and go to a corner or get in a car and drive by and mow down other black men and go back to his life like nothing happened. If you really think that his mind is right, you done lost your damn mind. He ain't right. He ain't right at all. You don't get to unsee that. You don't get to unsee it. And guess what it does? It plays back in your mind all the time. You don't get to take a life and just think that you just go on with your life. That don't way it works. It's not the way it works. You don't get to go through devastating, traumatic experiences and just think that you just go on as if everything is okay. It's not the way it works. No, jail is not enough to rehabilitate. If you kill somebody and you saw them die, or you chase somebody down the street and you're shooting them, that's going to play in your mind. If they scream, if they are begging you to stop, you're going to hear that in your head. You don't get to hurt people and just think you go away scot-free. That's not the way this thing operates. You don't get somebody you get molested or you was abused by your parent and you just no. This is why so many people are so verbally abusive or aggressive, or they making you pay for the sins of somebody else because they have undiagnosed trauma that's never been dealt with. So when you see these issues, why? Because the guy Justin Fairfax, he was supposed to be the next governor. That means that he was just okay, and one day he just snapped. No, that's not the way it worked. Because he had education, he was void of mental health issues. No. Black men who be okay. If we don't have enough messaging highlighting the importance of mental health in black communities, our own thought processes won't allow us to even recognize what's happening inside of us. Mark E. Currington, a black man who began therapy after experiencing severe panic attacks, said generational silence shaped his early understanding of mental health. So, and I can identify with that. Mark E. Currington is a black man in therapy that advocates for black men to mind their mental health. Growing up, nobody talked about mental health. You went to church and tried to pray it away. Yeah, that don't work. But that wasn't enough. Therapy helped me to get to the root of my issues that started. And see, his issues is the same. I didn't know that my issues started as a child at 5. Put it this way. Imagine having your mother in your life all your life. And then one day you go to bed, you wake up, she give you a bath, put your clothes on, take you to school. You come home, you don't see her again until you're almost 30. You sit in the window. Hold on. Y'all gotta bear with me. Hold on for a second. Just give me a minute. Give me 1 second. I'm back. You sit in the window. I would say probably you look out the window. Like every time you hear a car ride by, something probably from like 5 to 8. Hold on. Let me get it together. I said I wasn't to do this. Let me get it together. I got to do this because this is necessary. Because there's a young brother that might see this video. There's a man out here that been through what I've been through, what I survived through, and it's necessary. I'm cool now. I'm cool. All right, I'm cool. So, I would say about from 5 to 8, you hear a car go by or come in front of the house, you run to the window because you think it's your mother. And I grew up in an era where you didn't ask adults. When you asked adult things, they told you to be quiet and stay in the child's place back then. You wasn't allowed to ask about grown stuff. I didn't know that my mother was sick. And she had got real sick. And then she went to live with her mother in Pittsburgh. And she was just out of our life. But imagine being a little boy. And one day you come home from school and your mother not there. You go to sleep, wake up, my mama come back, but she never came back. And I dealt with that. But what I'm saying is, who the hell cared? I ain't nothing but just a boy or a man. Nobody cares anything about black boys and their feelings. Life just went on. But I grew up. Everybody had a mom in the black community. A lot of people didn't have dads. I had a dad, but I ain't had no mom. I thought something was wrong with me. So I grew up angry. When it was time to deal with women, I was already hurt by the first woman in my life. So you already know when I dealt with a woman and she hurt me, I looked at women as something that's less than at that time because I didn't have therapy. I didn't know what was wrong with me. Nobody gave a shit. So I'm saying all that to say, it's easy for us to judge these things without actually looking at the actual totality of the community or what goes on and what goes on in the mind of a lot of our black boys. I work with black boys in my organization, Urban Nerds. You should hear some of the stories. You should hear some of the things that they say when they get vulnerable and drop their shoulders and they feel comfortable to talk to you. It's devastating. It's devastating. Because boys and men suffer in silence. So when I cry, when I think about it, but I'm okay because I've survived it and I understood what my triggers warning was. I made it through, right? I got to a place where I have a successful marriage, my children, I'm fine. But that don't mean that I haven't forgotten where I come from. But let's read a little bit more. Let's read some more. Growing up, nobody talked about therapy. You just went to church and tried to pray it out, right? But that wasn't enough. Therapy helped me get to the root of the issues that started in childhood, and that's my story. It started in childhood. Both Carrington and Jennings, Wright, emphasized the importance of judgment-free spaces where black men can express themselves without fear of being labeled weak. It's not a weakness to ask for help. If anything, it's a strength. It shows awareness, discernment, and the critical thinking skills. We should be encouraged. And every black man writes it. Hold on a second. 1 second. Okay. Carrington said therapy helped him build coping tools to manage anxiety and emotional distress. Right. You got to get those. You have to go at your own pace. Therapy isn't a race, he said. You need to feel comfortable with your therapist or you won't see results. It only works when you're honest with yourself and with them. Right. Jennings writes, also warns against viewing mental health as purely individual issue. We can't just focus on personal responsibility. That's a band-aid, he said. We have to talk about systematic issues, poverty, racism, capitalism that makes life feel unbearable for so many people. It's not just about fixing the person, it's about fixing the conditions that you're living in. That message resonated with Carrington, who said his own journey began when he saw peers making the choice to seek help. He said community plays a vital role in shifting attitudes. Now, some people will say, well, what does that got to do with this? Well, see, this is the thing. That man Elkins is dead. Those 8 children are dead. Justin Fairfax and his wife is dead. You guys out there are still living. We're in a prevention business. If my message can reach a young black man or a grown man to go get the help that he needs, if he's having thoughts in his mind of unaliving himself, if he's going through some things, maybe he may see this video, because I'm talking to the living. We're in the prevention business. It's easy to come on here. It's easy to come on here and go after what we saw. That's the low-hanging fruit. But what about loving the living? What about loving the brother sitting next to you that's struggling right now, and you can see it in him, but he ain't telling you, but you know it's something going wrong. You know it's something that's not right. Huh? What about being in the prevention business? So we can prevent this from happening. So we can prevent maybe a wife and some children from getting harmed today because a man is not in his right state of mind, and Satan now has totally taken control of his mind, and now he's doing something that you couldn't even see coming. I told you, my cousin Michael, September 7, 2006, he was calling all around and asking everybody, if you kill yourself, will you go to hell? He went to school, to his daughter's school. Let me tell you, he went to his daughter's school and picked her up and brought her to his house and unalived both his children and called his wife to the house and unalived her. Then he unalived himself. So for me, this is home because this happened in my family 20 years ago. Right there in Chester, PA. And the thing is, we was all so busy running around in our life doing what we do. None of us saw it coming. None of us saw it coming. There was no abuse in the relationship that we knew of. We knew that he had got put in a wheelchair, but he was always jovial, always happy, always doing family stuff. And then, bam, just like that, it was over. Family was devastated and still devastated, still fractured. Let's read some more. It helps when you have friends who are already in therapy. They make it easier to open up and help break the false stigma that black men don't need an outlet. We absolutely do, he said. Both men agreed that healing can happen in isolation. Lasting change requires cultural and institutional commitment. There are people like me, black men, creating spaces where others can show up fully with all their pain and questions that we need more. Jenny said. We need families, schools, churches, and policymakers to show up too. Until we treat black men's mental health as a collective responsibility, we'll keep losing lives that could have been saved, right? So then we go here. Let's go here. Let's go over here. Domestic violence cases stir calls for more prevention resources for black communities, right? Two headline-grabbing domestic violence cases, one in Louisiana, the other in Virginia, targeting black mothers, have sparked a national conversation about domestic violence. Hold on for a second. About domestic violence prevention. Resources and mental health care available to black communities. Many advocates in the aftermath of the deadly shootings have said the tragedies potentially highlight troubling underlying trends where Black women are more likely to experience domestic violence, and they see the killings as an opportunity to confront how disparities in access to care and resources make some women and children more vulnerable to violence in the home. On Sunday morning, a man police identified as Shamar Elkins fatally shot 7 of his children and another child in Shreveport, Louisiana. A relative said Elkins was in the midst of separating from his wife, who was wounded, and I don't even think that she woke up yet. You think your situation would have been better or worse if she stayed in her condition? Let me read that real quick. He said, do you think your situation would have been better or worse if she stayed in her condition? You wanted her there, right? Do you feel like it was explained to you? No, it was never really explained to me because I never took the time to understand what my father was going through himself at the time. A former Vietnam veteran was going through his own stuff after the war and stuff like that. It's just that when she got sick and she went away, during those times, you just wasn't allowed to ask questions. So I grew up always yearning and waiting for my mother, not knowing that she was sick. Once I went to therapy and I started understanding who I was and to separate whatever my parents went through, that's not my life. I had a chance to create and forge my own life going forward. It's when I got to the root of my issues and started to work on myself. But before that, I was just going around angry and mad at the world and mad at everybody at that time, right? But nobody ever said, well, go to therapy, right? That's another story, but it was just a lot. It was just a lot. It was a lot that I experienced and went through during those times. It was just, and the whole thing was for me, I would say for me, my story, the whole thing was, a lot of the gist of it was I was yearning for my mother. So I acted out. I got in trouble, was locked up for a whole bunch of different stuff. But the catalyst behind it was I was yearning for my mother. Didn't even realize that yearning for my mother is what created the behavior and the anger and the fuel of everything else that got me in trouble with everything else. You know how they say like the boy's yearning for his father and he's like the father? Mine was the other way around. I had the father, I didn't have the mom. And everybody else had moms. I never felt like I was loved on. I never felt like I was loved. I never felt like a woman could love me because my mother didn't love me. So I went through that. But how many other Black boys went through that and grew up to be men? And what's funny? I'm not online bashing women because I got past it. But I got to tell the story because there's so many other Black boys that's just like that right now. There's so many other Black men that's just like that right now. I thought I was inadequate. I saw the way mothers went hard. I had a dad. My dad was the best father he knew how he could be. He raised me, took care of me, fed me, clothed me, everything. But I was never loved on the way a mother loved on her son. I never experienced that. Right? And that could be psychologically damaging. You need both. And that's all I'm saying. But let's proceed more. Okay. So what is it? Real quick. Yeah. Peace, y'all. All right. And last Thursday, police found the bodies of former Virginia Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax and his estranged wife, Dr. Centuria Fairfax, in their suburban Washington, D.C. home. Justin Fairfax was shot his estranged wife and then himself and their 2 children in their home at the time were unhurt. Police said, like Elkins, Fairfax was in the process of separating from his wife, and he had faced a judge's upcoming decline to move from the house. Right, so they was going through it. Right, a silent epidemic. Sunday wasn't the first that Elkins' family had suffered from gender-based gun violence. Shaniqua Elkins and the other woman was also shot. Keisha Pugh were sisters and lost their mother to gun violence when they were under the age of 10, according to their uncle, Lionel Pugh. So this is something that it happened before. It's sad. It breaks you down, Pugh said. Shreveport Councilman Grayson Boucher said at a news conference Monday that the Louisiana killings were emblematic of a true epidemic of domestic violence across the small southern city, roughly of 180,000. Those trends go well beyond Shreveport, as experts have pointed out how both race and gender make Black women in particular more vulnerable to domestic violence. More than 4 in 10 Black women experience physical violence from an intimate partner during their lifetimes, a much greater rate than women who are white, Hispanic, Asian, or Pacific Islander, according to 2014 study by the Centers for Disease Control, right? Pamela Tate is the executive director of Black Women's Revolt, which runs programs to prevent abuse and offers survivors resources. She said a logical skepticism about police and government child services agency based on a history of institutionalized racism makes Black women reluctant to seek help and especially vulnerable to domestic violence. And that's important. Additionally, Black women are 2 times more likely to be murdered by men than their white counterparts, according to a 2025 study published by the Violence Policy Center based on federal government data in 2023. Those men are more often than not familiar to their victims, according to the study, which found that more than 9 in 10 Black female victims knew their killers, with the majority of those killings being carried out with guns. Ultimately, Tate said domestic violence doesn't see color and is primarily driven by prevalent beliefs amongst men across racial demographics. Lack of resources for Black men. There has been intense speculation about the role that mental health crisis might have played in both shootings, right? Hold on. A relatives of Elkins' wife told the Associated Press that Elkins had voluntarily checked into a Department Veteran Affairs hospital in January, about a week and a half, for mental health help. See, here we go. I already knew it. Now, mind you, he had in his family, he already had when we go back up here, it talked about hold on. On Sunday, the Elkins family has suffered from gender-based gun violence. Shaquina Elkins and another woman who was shot, Keisha Pugh, were sisters and lost their mother to gun. See, that's what I'm saying, man. Well, let's go back down. Here, right? So this guy, he checked into a mental health to get help. In Virginia, Justin Fairfax was a rising star in the Democratic Party until 2 women accused him of actual assault, casting doubt on his trustworthiness as a political leader. The former lieutenant governor's mental health and mental and emotional health suffered before he unalived his wife and himself, according to court documents, which say he drank heavily and withdrew from his family after the allegations were made public in 2019. Adult and child psychiatrist Christine Crawford hasn't examined the killings in Shreveport or Amadale, but said financial troubles, marital issues, and problems at work, in addition to underlying mental health vulnerabilities, can lead someone to crack. It makes some think about the amount of pain, distress, and hopelessness they found themselves in at the time, said Crawford, who practices at the Webster Clinic, Boston, and the interim chief medical officer, the National Alliance for Mental Illness. Right? She noted that many Black people find themselves priced out of programs and care for mental health for such reasons as private care costs and lack of insurance. The level of desperation can make some people feel completely out of options on how to deal with the pain. He was at the moment, Crawford said. Some have said that there are social dimensions that these economic trends too. Mental health disparities in the Black community is not accidental, said University of Michigan social worker professor Daphne C. Watkins. They are the predictable result of structural racism in schools, employment, and in other aspects of society. Watkins, founder of the YB Men Project, which provides young Black men with a safe place to discuss their mental health, manhood, and social support, says studies show that 10% of Black adults experience moderate severe depression, while 18% experience anxiety disorders. But Black men tend to forego mental health treatment due to cultural expectations, in addition to costs. Watkins said, without an outlet, stressors from family, work, and relationships can pile up. For a long time in the Black community, we didn't talk about anxiety. Now you have to talk about it, and hand along depression. Mental health not an excuse, some say. Now here we go. Others have emphatically said that mental health is not an excuse for domestic violence, right? To say that you're mentally ill doesn't cut it, Tate said. There are people who are depressed or people who have schizophrenia and don't harm their partners, much less kill them. Shakina Elkins, Serena Fairfax could have been struggling with mental health challenges too, Tate added, and they both had some access to ability to go purchase a gun, but chose not to. The mental illness is not what we're talking about here, she said. Now watch this. Associated Press, Sophia Basil. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay, that was it. Let me just say this. Let me say this part, because at that part at the end when they say with schizophrenia, and everybody's not the same. Everybody's different. Everybody channels information different, right? So let's go here, because I want to read stuff. I don't even care how many people stay in here. Those that's here to get the message to get it. Those that won't. That's just where we at, because this is important. This is important. Black men in therapy, breaking the stigma and prioritizing mental health. Right. This is an article written last year. Right. For too long, Black men have been told to man up, to push through pain and silence, to wear strength like armor and never let it crack. But let's be real, the weight gets heavy. And the truth is, Black men's mental health matters just as much as the physical health, just as much as success, just as much as showing up for loved ones. Right. It's time to rewrite the narrative and embrace therapy as a tool, not a weakness. What are the mental health issues of Black men? Black men face unique set of challenges when it comes to mental health. Social expectations, race discrimination, financial pressures, and the pressures to always appear strong can take a serious toll. Depression, anxiety. That's what I'm clinically diagnosed with PTSD. Real quick. About 16 years ago, they had gave me like the medicine to take, and it was like making me like a little lethargic. I stopped taking it. When I stopped, I'm gonna tell you what happened for me. When I stopped taking the medicine, I got into working out. I got into running 3 miles every other day. That was my therapy. I went to got therapy, right? I went and got the proper therapy to help my need. But when I got into working out real crazy, I got into running the 3 miles, eating right, and start just, prioritizing myself and not letting my past dictate my future. I started to do things for self. And let me see, hold on. I started to prioritize me. And I was walking around looking like this because I took all that stress and I channeled it into working out, and I turned into a damn monster at the time, because I lived in the gym, and the gym helped me at that time get all, that's a funny. I created a funny picture, but the gym at the time helped me get past like my anxiety and my stress and all the things that I was going through. But What are the mental health issues of Black men? Black men have a unique set of challenges when it comes to mental health. Societal expectations, racial discrimination, financial pressures, and the pressure to always appear strong can take a depression, right? But instead of seeking help, Black men internalize their struggles, fearing judgment or rejection. According to research, Black men are less likely to seek therapy compared to other racial groups, despite facing significant mental health stressors. The reluctance often stems from stigma, mistrust, healthcare systems, and lack of therapists who truly understand their experiences. What ethnicity has the highest rate of mental illness? While mental illness affects all demographics, research show that indigenous and multicultural communities have the highest reported rates of mental illness. However, Black men's mental health struggles are often underreported due to cultural and systemic barriers. The numbers don't always tell the full story. For Black men, the fear of being labeled weak or unstable has kept many from openly discussing their struggles. Even in faith communities, where many turn for support, mental health issues are often dismissed with pray about it instead of real professional intervention. What are the health facts of about Black men? When it comes to overall health, Black men face significant disparities. Black men are at a higher risk of high blood pressure, heart disease, diabetes. They are more likely to experience chronic stress due to social economic challenges and racial discrimination. Suicide rates amongst Black men have risen in years, with younger Black males being at particular risk. Right. So let's go over here real quick before I read that. Okay, let's go here. Suicide rates among shoot. Suicide rates amongst Black American men, especially youth, are rising rapidly, often driven by untreated depression. I keep telling y'all, it goes undiagnosed, it goes untreated because people don't care, right? You can tell people don't care just by how many people watching now, right? Racial trauma and social economic stress, with young Black men dying by suicide at an alarming rate. Key factors include internalized distress, lack of culturally responsive care, and cultural stigmas hindering support seeking, leading to high suicide rates, right? Depression and trauma. While Black African Americans are often less likely to die by suicide than the general U.S. population, Black men specifically have higher rates of suicide ideation due to accumulated adversity, undiagnosed conditions. Black mental health issues in Black men, particularly youth, are frequently unrecognized, misdiagnosed, or untreated, with many suffering from depression and anxiety. Racial masculinity. A significant factor is the performance of strength, where Black men may repress emotions to conform to societal racialized standards, creating severe barriers to seek help. The role of racism. Experiencing with racial discrimination directly correlated with the higher suicidal retention, right? Limited access to culturally competent care, along with financial difficulties, right? Key findings of suicide. Suicide is the third leading cause of death for young Black men. High risk factors. A study of non-Hispanic African American suicides found that 41% of males had a current mental health problem. Only 22% were being treated at the time of death. Contextual factors. Rural Black men report high rates of suicide ideation. If one in three experiencing thoughts of death in the home. That goes to effective prevention. Hold on. There was something here. It's one that I didn't see. Hold on. Because they were saying that suicides. Okay, wait a minute. Young Black men are dying by suicide at alarming rates. Hold on, because I want to find. Okay, here we go. One in three rural black men reported they experienced suicidal ideation or thoughts of death in the past 2 weeks. Reports a new study from the University of Georgia. Childhood adversity and racism may hold much of the blame. Suicides is the second leading cause of death of African Americans between the ages of 15 and 24, according to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. Suicides is particularly prevalent among black men who die by suicide at a rate more than 4 times that rate of black women. It feels like nobody is talking about the problem, and it's only getting worse. So what I'm saying is, we talk about femicide, right, and abuse of black women, and that's true. What we don't talk about is our sons, our uncles, our dads, our brothers. I'm in the prevention business. I can't bring those babies back alive. I can't bring Justice Fairfax's wife back alive. But what we can talk about is the prevention business before these things happen. Because at the end of the day, the black man and black woman are together. And we cannot talk about systematic racism and think that we don't have psychological problems. We are messed up mentally as a people, a whole lot of us. And we've been told to just toughen it out. No, this thing is bad, man. It's real bad. And it's something that's not talked about. Right? Do you know when they talk about the second leading cause of death of young black boys 18 to 24 is suicide? Do you know how many young black boys kill even what we call commit suicide by not even unaliving themselves? They just go bang bang with other people, or bang bang with the cops, or they put themselves in situations where they can't be murdered because they don't care whether they live or die. I come from that. I've been once a time I didn't care. I lived by the day at one point in my life. You know what I mean? And the stories that we tell. So I get it. But it's telling you, it feels like, hold on. It feels like nobody's talking about the problem and it's getting worse. I think we often don't look at where the disparities are and who the individuals most at risk are when talking about suicide ideation, said Michael Curtis, co-author of the study and a graduate of UGA's Human Development Family Suicidal Department, College of Family and Consumer Science. We just know it's sad, and particularly amongst young black men. Historically, research has not invested a lot of time and effort in looking into what are the unique cultural contexts that make certain men more at risk for suicidal thoughts than other men. The studies found that growing up in low-resource environment and experiencing racial discrimination during a young adult makes it difficult to engage in healthy, trusting relationships. Can lead to feelings of isolation, which in turn can prompt thoughts into death and suicide. Because that's what the enemy wants. The enemy wants to get you isolated. It wants to get you alone. It wants to be able to be the loudest voice in your head to the point where you're not even thinking clear, right? And that's why you'll do something. They say, well, we never saw it coming. We didn't even know that. We didn't even know he was like that. Because you didn't know. He didn't even know he was like that. But at some point, those visions and those voices start getting louder than his common sense, his rightful consciousness. And listen, depression, mental illness is a real disease, is a real thing. It's not something to mess around with. It's not something to play around with, man. I'm telling you, it's bad, man. Childhood traumas, racism take a heavy toll on young black men's mental health. Researchers followed more than 500 African-American men from their late teens to the early 20s in rural Georgia. At 3 separate times over the course of several years, the men were asked to reflect on their childhood, including economic hardships and traumatic experiences. Some of the questions included whether they experienced physical or emotional abuse, witnessed a relative being abused, felt loved and special, had enough to eat, or had access to medical care when needed as a child, right? We found black men were exposed to childhood adversity that may develop internal understanding of the world as somewhere they are devalued, right? And let me say this. You know that's true by the way black men interact with each other. That's why I always say, you teach people how to treat you by the way you treat each other. You love on your brother. You want for your brother what you want for yourself. The reason why a lot of black men snake each other, backbite each other, unalive each other, sleep with another man's woman, do everything because he don't love himself. He don't see the value in himself. So if he already don't see the value in himself because he has low self-esteem, he suffers from depression, he suffers from so many things, what makes you think he won't value you? Right? What makes you think he won't value you? Because he never felt loved. This is why these black boys talk the way that they talk. That's why they call each other ops and say that they're on demon time, because they don't love themselves. So how can they love you? This is why I created my program, Urban Nerds, because of what I went through. Because I knew that I lacked self-love. I believed that my mother didn't love me, so I didn't love nobody. Until I got to where I'm at now. So I can identify. I never thought about unaliving the woman that I was with or my children, but I tried to unalive myself twice. So I'm telling you that mental health issues is a real thing. Mental health issues is a real sickness. It's not nothing. It's easy to come in here like, that's why I said all that gender war stuff today in here, I don't want none of that. Because that's not my angle. I'm talking to black men, black boys, black mothers, sisters. Maybe, if you're struggling and you're going through some things and you keeping it bottled up, I'm telling you that it's okay to speak out. It's okay to say something. It don't make you weak. I'm not ashamed to come on here and say the things that I said. I don't care if somebody get the video and clip it up. I don't care. I'm not ashamed. The Most High allowed me to survive and live through so many different things that I give all the praise. Knowing who I am and where I came from, that I'm able to go back now and go into them places that I came from and speak to those young men that feel like nobody values them, that feel like nobody sees them, that's inside of a room of 100 people, but he feels alone. I was that guy. I lived to go back and teach now. So I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed to say I tried to commit suicide twice. No, I'm not. Because you see me sitting here now and see me pictures with the kids and with my son and my wife. This ain't nothing but the power of God, the power of prayer, the power of understanding who I am, that get me from where I was to raise me up to be who I am today. So it's my duty to go back now and save these young boys and girls that may be going through the things that I was going through, that can't see themselves out of the current situations that they live in. Understanding that you are greater than the situation that you're living in. You are not your parents' mistakes. You are not the mistakes of the environment that you grew up in. You are greater than that. But we have to now teach you to create a vision outside of that. Because as long as you keep living in that vision, it'll consume you. It'll consume you. So it's easy to get on here and talk about a Justin Fairfax or a Shamar Elkins and, oh my God, black men this and black men that. What does that help? What does that solve? That's just showing me your trauma, because you're triggered by black men because maybe you've been hurt by black men. Maybe you have undiagnosed trauma that's never been dealt with, that you're passing down to your children, that you refuse to acknowledge. There's nowhere in the world we can be online every day talking about W supremacy, reparations, and what happened to us as a people, and think that we don't have psychological disorders. Foundational Black Americans are out of their minds. A lot of us are very traumatized. Just because people don't show it, don't mean that it's not there. Don't mean you got 1 in 6 black women before the age of 16 are SA'd. 1 in 4 black boys before the age of 16 are SA'd. They did a study. I work with the DA's office, and there's a study. They did a study on male prisoners that was locked up for murder or heinous crimes. And do you know that 1 in 5 of these black men that have been locked up for murders or very violent crimes have been molested? And they interviewed this one black man. He was locked up for 4 homicides. And they asked him, did he feel any remorse for the homicide. He said, no, just one. He felt remorse for one because the one didn't deserve it. And they said, why don't you feel any remorse? He said, because when I was screaming out for help, nobody cared about me. I want y'all to like really take that in. When he was screaming out for help, nobody cared about him. So he took out all of his frustration on people that look like him. So I'm telling you, subconsciously, a lot of you out there got hate, self-hate and hate for your own people. And sometimes you don't even realize it. Don't even realize it. But that man told that reporter that when he cried out for help, nobody cares. So why the hell should he care? That was crazy. But in places like Memphis, Philadelphia, Chicago, Detroit, St. Louis, Baltimore, Washington, D.C., Brooklyn, all New York City, Atlanta, Miami, Houston, you think we walking around straight? I just told you. I was coming home from school at 13 years old with about 6 or 7 friends, and it was a big shootout. And we had to hit the ground. And everybody hit the ground. You know, they shooting at each other, machine guns. This is the 80s. And when they all run away, all the guys run away, we all get up and looking around. Now, mind you, we 13, but we in the hood. This stuff happens a lot, right? You look down and not my cousin, one of my best friends shot in the stomach. And he coughing up blood. How does a 13-year-old process that? I need somebody to tell me. How do you think? Here I am about to be 51 years old. I still remember it like it was yesterday. I need somebody to tell me, how does a 13-year-old boy process that? And then I'm supposed to just the next day go to sleep at night, get up in the morning, put my clothes on, and like, hey, no. But you don't even get a chance to recover, Skinny, because after that's over, right? So much other stuff is going on. When do you get to recover? And there's no therapist. Therapist? What's a therapist? A therapist is when your daddy go take you to the movies or something. Do something to make you feel better. A therapist? What? That's what I'm saying. I saw that. Right. You're not your parents' mistakes. And you got to know that. You have the ability. Let me tell you something. With everything that I said, right? Like I said, guys came through the block shooting one time. And we all hit the ground, jumped in bushes. Some guys shot back. And people got hit, right? I think this was 93. I was 18, 19 years old. People got hit. When it was all over, everybody was up, looking around, checking their stuff, and we couldn't find Mark. Mark tried to hide under a car, and one of the guys saw him and shot him and killed him. We looking down at Mark. How do you unsee that? Somebody tell me. I need somebody to tell me, how do you want to see that? And then you just go on life. They just say, hey, man, everything just, go to work the next day, or you go back on the block and go in the house with your girl, and you just go and you just fine, right? I guess. That's what I'm saying. Like, I got a story. See, outside of me being married for going on 26 years, right? Hold on for a second. Hold on. Ah, shit. Hold on. Here I come. Let me show y'all something. Let's get it. Oh shoot, hold on. So when you see this, right? One of my grandchildren, me, one of my sons, right? My son's grandbaby, my mom, my son, me and my wife, right? When you see those images, right? 25 years, children, grandchildren, you say, well, damn, he was just telling a story. Like my this girl right here was one of my daughters. This girl right here, she was shot when she was 3. She was caught in a crossfire. She was shot in her knee. Right? My best friend got shot 11 times that night, right in front of me, and died right there while I was trying to get him to the car. Blood come, he died. My daughter was shot. So what I'm saying is, when I went through my phases, I went through a lot of psychological stuff, because you don't unsee that stuff. That's not, we normalize this stuff in the hood. When I hear these, like, a lot of these rappers today talk about they gun and they AK spray, man, I come from that life. I come from the late 80s, early. I come from that shit for real. I've seen it. And it's no joke. It ain't nothing to play with. But I had a desire for something different, and to prove the devil a liar, more than my desire to allow those circumstances to succumb me. I'm going to say it again. I had a desire to overcome my situation and prove the devil a liar, more than my circumstances. I wanted better for myself, because I wanted to see what life was like outside of this pain and the circumstances that I was in. So I began to make choices to do better and want better. None of this existed at that time. That didn't exist. None of this existed, except for this lady here, but none of that existed. This didn't exist. All this exists because I made a choice. I made a choice at the time to want different. Now, I didn't do it all right. I struggled. I went through all kinds of things, but I fought the good fight. And I'm saying all that to say, black man, your story don't got to be Shamar Elkins. Your story don't got to be Justin Fairfax. Your story could be a story of triumph. Your story could be a story of success. Your story could be a story of I made it despite. Do not let those circumstances or mistakes or things that you inherited define you. Don't let it define you. If you need help, there are services in the cities that you come from that are available to you. You can get those services, black man, because I know that you need it. I'm a black man. I'm in conversations with other black men that I know that are sick and they ain't right in their mind. They ain't right in their head. Oh, yeah. He said, yeah, my son way taller than me. Let me see. Yeah, he better be taller than me. My wife taller than me. He better be taller than me. Shoot, my wife is 5'9", 5'10". Her dad was like 6'9", 6'10". So my son, he better be taller than me. He better be taller than me. But it's easy to come on here. It's Skinny, you from Chicago, right? Ain't you from Chicago, Skinny? It's easy to come on here and get into the gender stuff and start bashing black men, or put the link in there and allow black women to come up and bash black men and allow black men, and then talk about Ashley Janae and allow black men to bash black women. And do you think that when black women post stuff black men because they got a white man. Do you think that's normal? You don't think that that's psychological damage? You don't think that that's trauma? That's trauma. That's not normal. That's not normal behavior. It's not normal behavior. What do we gain? What do we gain from a gender war? From psychological damage, traumatized people? What do we gain from that? What's gained from this? So all I'm saying to the family is, I can't be a hypocrite to my message. When I talk this FBA stuff, I mean it, right? My brother Skinny from Chicago, I'm sure he done seen all kinds. Whether you in Chicago, Philly, I'm sure he done seen it. I told you, the first time I saw a man get his head blown off when I was a kid, and got a beating by my dad because I was too afraid to run. And because my dad whooped my behind because I scared him to death because he was in the kitchen frying fish, I remember. And he heard the gunshots and came running outside, and I was standing there stuck like this with the football in my hand. I was a kid. I was too scared to run. And he came and grabbed me and ran with me in the house. I had never seen nothing like that. And he was so traumatized, he gave me a spanking. And I remember, and my uncle came and sat down and talked to me. Yeah, I seen it young. I've been all through the juvenile system, 1988 for something bad with a firearm. I've been through this stuff. So I'm just saying, like, if you go to Chicago and you go to Cook County or you go to them juvenile places, them young boys have mental health issues. You don't get to be in a gang and be part of 15 to 20 shootings in the next 5 years and think that you don't have mental health issues. You don't get to live in around and you watching your mom on drugs, or you never had your dad and your mom is struggling and you don't have mental health issues. Coming from the communities, when we talk about reparations is talking about repair. Remember, I told you guys, I always tell you guys, reparations first starts in the mind. You have to first repair your mind and know who you are. Reparations don't start with a check. Reparations start with you, the individual. How I had to get over trying to commit suicide twice. I had to understand who I was. I had to understand who I was and who I was not. And when I began to understand who I was and who I was not, when those thoughts came up, or the thoughts of the past or the trauma came up, I was able to have a guard and defense around me to protect me from those thoughts. I had coping mechanisms to deal with those things. I set up barriers till I started to get strong enough to understand that my parents' mistakes, my environment was not who I was. Shamar Elkins couldn't get past that. When he's sending out, hold on. When he's doing this, today I ask you, dear God, today I ask you to help me guard my mind and my emotions. When negativity arises, remind me to say it does not belong to me. In the name of Jesus, help me to remember that there is power in your name and that every force not from you must flee. When depression tries to settle in, when anger arises, when anxiety or panic comes, give me the awareness to recognize what is not from you and the strength to reject it immediately in the name of Jesus. Fill me with your peace, your joy, and your clarity. Teach me to replace every negative thoughts and your truth. Strengthen my mind so I can stand firm and not be overtaken by what I feel. I choose to walk in freedom, knowing I am covered, protected, and held by you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Now, what I'm saying is people will hear that, and a lot of people be angry. But he was calling out. because there was something deep in there. And whatever it was, it had its hold on him. It had its grip on him, and it was in his ear every day. You're less than, you're none of this. Just come with me. Just do this. He had it. He had that voice in his head. He had that voice. And he was calling out to Christ to help him deal with and cope with it. And those, maybe somebody will see these things and maybe somebody will reach out and help. And at some point, that pressure burst. And when it burst, it was ugly. Same thing with my cousin Michael, when he was calling around. And he called my phone. He called everybody's phone and said, if you kill yourself when you go to hell, we just thought he was joking and playing. 2 days later, he killed himself, his wife, and both his kids. My first cousin. Yes. So it's no joke. It's no joke. And see, the thing is, if you never suffer, if you don't suffer from mental health issues or don't understand it, then you can't say, well, they just making excuses, or you can't compare everybody else's situations because everything is not the same. Everybody ain't the same. Everybody deals with trauma different. Let's say I fight through it every day. He didn't even deploy. This man was evil and weak. I mean, that's your opinion. You can't speak for him. You can't speak for him at all. That's how you feel because there's children involved. There's children is dead. But guess what? No matter what you say or what you think, but see, this is what I'm saying when we're uneducated. I want everybody to look at this. He cheated. Him cheating has nothing to do with mental health issues. This is what I'm saying. The cheating, the act, all those, the mental health issues is before all that. That's all part of the circle. What I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. We got to stop speaking on stuff that we don't know anything about. Because you're upset because he did something. You know what the real problem is? We got to get in the prevention business and study this and say, why did this happen? And why does it happen a lot? Because the same way you can look at this, why is a black boy today going to get a gun and shoot another black boy in the face? What's the difference? What's going on in the communities we come from? What's going on in the mindset? See, we keep talking about, well, he cheated. What that don't mean, what the hell does that matter? See, listen to what I'm saying. Let me put this down. Let me educate you for a minute. Let me sit up and educate you. Black men get caught cheating. Watch this. Hey, Skinny. Mika, right? Black men get caught cheating every day. They don't go and kill their girlfriends and their children. So that has nothing to do with it. He was already suffering. Black men get caught cheating every day. Every single day. Yeah, hold on for a second. Let me get you up out of here, man. I ain't got time for niggas like you. Goodbye. Goodbye. I ain't dealing with that. You go start your own stream up and go teach and talk to your people, whoever you want to talk to. I'm not dealing with that over here. If that's what you want to do and you want to be in the gender thing, you go ahead and do that. I'm not dealing with that. I'm not dealing with, see, this is what I'm saying about our people. I'm not dealing with what's right or wrong. I'm dealing with mental health. That's what I'm talking about. Not one time did I say he was right or wrong or make excuses for anything. I said that I'm talking to the living. And we can learn from this. And we're in the prevention business. So if you feel like you need to come over here and challenge, I'll tell you, you can start your own YouTube channel and you can go over there and teach on your channel. YouTube is free. It don't cost you nothing. You can go teach on your channel. I've been through this. My family, part of my family is still fractured because my cousin did the same thing. I'm in the prevention business. How can we get to the mindset of some of these people where we can see it before it happened within our own family members, within our own friends, and we can prevent it? That's where I'm at with it. I don't got time for all that. And if you ain't never dealt with it, don't come over here talking to me about it. I don't want to hear none of that shit from you. Take that shit up the block to you. Go talk on your own channel about that. Because see, what I'm saying is it's easy. What I've noticed with our people, hold on. What I noticed with our people, it's easy to be angry. Hold on. What the hell? Hold on 1 second. 1 second. 1 second. Let me do this real quick. One second. Let this come in. It's easy. It's easy to be angry. But what I notice is, and you can tell by the amount of people that show up, nobody wants to talk about the sickness in our community and the prevention business and the healing business. Nobody wants to talk about that. See, a lot of people come in and say, "Oh, you making excuses," and they want to argue. You want to come in and argue with me. What? After you finish arguing with me, then what? What do you solve by arguing with me? You arguing online with a man you don't know about a man that unallowed himself and his children. What does that do for you? Nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. All I'm doing now is talking about telling my story, and I'm talking to the people that may be watching this right now that's silently going through some things that may need a word. So it's obviously I'm not talking to you, so just move on. That's all. That may need a word. That's all I'm doing. Because I can't talk to those children. I can't talk to Justice Fairfax's wife anymore. But you know what though, Skinny? Before the year out, it's going to happen again. Maybe a couple times. Maybe Skinny, maybe Mika, maybe if we had these conversations, we can look into certain things and maybe some of this stuff can be prevented. Maybe somebody might come across this video and see this video and say, "Man, I seen Bishop George talking, man, and he persuaded me to go get help." How about that? So me coming on here and arguing and condemning, what does that serve? What purpose does it serve? Right? It's easy. Like I said, hey Mika, if I was on here and my title was F Justin Fairfax and Shamar Elkin, they need to go to hell, and I titled that, how many people would have showed up in here, Mika? How many people would I have had in here? If I would have had Shamar Elkins and what's his name? It's not FBA. How many people would have showed up in here? But because I said let's talk about mental health in the Black community, look how many people showed up. That's a let's see, that's a good question. I want to address that. You said, I believe that good people who struggle with mental health issues choose to seek help. Bad people, no, but see, that's the part that you got to understand, my brother. People with mental health are people with mental health, whether good or bad. Sometimes people with mental health issues don't realize that they're doing bad. They don't realize that they are bad. That's what's called mental health issues. Mental health is a real thing, it's a sickness. If you haven't experienced it, you can't even comprehend what it is. Mental health issues will take control of your mind, where you're not even operating from yourself. You're not operating from your faculties. And sometimes people may have the wherewithal or awareness to get help. Some people don't. Listen, let me tell you something. You got women out here that got mental health issues, right? Because of things that they went through, right? And they may have been touched when they was young, or they may have been abused by a man and they went through some stuff and they get with you and they're abusive to you. They treat you real bad, right? They might not be bad people, but they don't have the wherewithal to go get the help. It's not there until it's there, until somebody bring it to their attention or they go through something. I didn't have the wherewithal to go get help until after I tried to commit suicide the first time and I had to go get the help. I didn't know that something was wrong with me. And see, this is what I'm saying. Somebody says, see, you're pretending like there's no evil people. I didn't say that, but this is what I'm saying. This is why. Now look at this, right? There's no evil people. A black man who does something like this must. No, this is the thing. I didn't say that they're pretending like there's no evil people. I said, I'm going to say it again for the slow people in the back. Mental health disorder is a real thing. And a lot of people that go through mental health disorders don't know that they're evil. They're not operating from the mindset that you may see it from, because they can't see what you see when mental health or mental health crisis or people with PTSD, and the way that they process information, the way that they process information. So I'm telling you, see, and I can tell by the way that you're speaking through raw emotion of something and not from a way a doctor examines the mind or circumstances. You're not seeing it from that. There is a such thing as good and evil, right? We know that. But when you're dealing with people with mental health disorders, the way that they process information may be different from yours. This is what I'm trying to tell you. And that's in our families. So you can talk all day about evil and be upset. But what I'm saying is, if it's your father or your mother or your son or something like that, now all of a sudden you want people to be sympathetic. Now all of a sudden you want help. So what I'm saying is, this stream ain't for you. This stream is for people, right? This stream is for people that may be going through some things in silence that may, all right, let me get you out of here. Goodbye. Ain't no need for you to ever come back to this channel again. Goodbye. Got time for, I don't be understanding where some of these people come from. Like, get away from, if you like, go start your own channel. Right. Being controlled by your emotion is also right. Somebody else said, mental health is extremely serious. Grateful to God and Jesus that I have found that have been able to see a therapist. See, that's what I'm saying. And take medications for extreme depression and high anxiety. So, and this is what I'm saying. Like, people come on here and they just start running their mouth and just start talking a whole bunch of stuff that don't make sense, right? Right? Let's look at this one. Just like with addiction, recovery from mental health is only effective when the person is willing to make the change, right? Or even see, Matt, if they even know how to make the change or even get to a place where, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, nobody, all right, put it this way. Nobody goes to sleep at night and wakes up in the morning and say, hey, I'm going to commit suicide. I'm going to try to kill myself. When I was in those stages of my life 20 years ago, I wasn't in my right state of mind. Where I'm at now, I can look back on that. Me and my wife talk. I'm like, damn, I was really going through it, right? I'm nowhere near the person that I was, because I came to a place where I understood who I was and what I was not, right? But when I was going through it, but I wasn't in my right state of mind to go take my own life. Whatever the whispers, whatever was in my head, I wasn't me. I was totally gone. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So if you don't understand mental health issues and all that kind of stuff, you don't know what you're talking about. Because if I understood, I wouldn't have did it. Having kids change me? No, it was my desire. What changed me was there was something inside of me that it was my desire to want better for myself. I was tired of being depressed all the time. And I'm going to tell you, I tell you, when I took those pills and I woke up in the hospital like 2 days later, handcuffed to the bed, I was mad at God, because I was like, man, why I come back here? I didn't want to come back, right? And when I came, that was the second time I came back. I remember going into the church and I heard the pastor say, God has a calling for your life, and you can't go nowhere until he's done with you. You have a calling on your life, and God is not through with you yet. You have some things that you have to do. And I started to see the world through a different lens. I wanted something different in my life outside of murder, outside of not being over my mother, outside of being hurt by women, outside of having a bunch of money and selling a bunch of drugs, but feeling like there was a void, there was something wrong. I knew it was more to life than just this. And I got to a place, I said, well, I tried to commit suicide twice and God won't let me die. So at some point, because I had to go get psych evaluation. I went and got the therapy. But I had got locked up for a shooting when I was 13 years old. And I had to get like a juvenile psych evaluation before they sentence you or whatever. That was a kid. But then I had to go back twice as an adult because of those issues that I was going through. And I found out, that's when I found out that my issues stem from childhood not having my mother. And it morphed into everything else. And I had these issues. Right? And they had gave me medicine, but I took the medicine for like a week and I stopped taking it because it was making me feel sick and lethargic. So I got into working out all crazy, like got on Browley working out. I was already writing poems, but I started writing stuff down to make right now how I felt, to make me feel better. Then I started putting stuff on video. I started doing all kinds of things to bring about the change that I wanted. Because I got to a space and place where I could envision a life outside of the life that I was already living. But I had to choose to want better. So I ended up getting married. I had already had the other 2 children, and I had my other children. My children came, grandkids came, and then my life started to change. And when I see my life started to change, I started saying, oh, wait a minute, Satan was a freaking liar. Oh, he had my mind. It had me wrapped up in the darkness. I was in the darkness all this time, and I'm hearing these dark voices, and I'm seeing friends die and people get shot, and not having my mama, and not having a great relationship with my father at first, and being abusive to women, and not having. I got all these things going on, and then God showed me the other side. I said, well, damn, I didn't know that life was like this over here. I didn't know that you could be happy. I didn't know that you could be happy with a woman. I didn't know that you could be happy with your children. I didn't know that you can go through days and be happy, because I had never experienced it. I always looked at other people's families and said, damn, he got a mom, he got a dad, or he got a mom. Man, your mom came to see you, or your mom gave you a hug and a kiss. I was jealous. I never had a mom give me a hug and a kiss. So I had psychological damage from that, but I had to realize that I wasn't my parents. I was responsible for my own life. I was responsible for my own happiness. I was responsible for learning how to create my own happiness to move forward. I was responsible now that for making the right decisions that's right for my life, so that I don't pass these things, this generational curse, down to my own children. And this is why I speak in the manner in which I speak today, because I understood that God had work for me, and God put a message in my mouth. So when I speak, it's uplifting him, because I know where I come from. I still see my friend on the ground bleeding out, shot in his stomach. I still see it. See, God said, I will deliver you from your past, but I'll leave the scars as a reminder of where you come from. So I don't never forget that. I'm grateful to where I am now. I'm not suicidal at all. I'm telling a story now for those that may be watching there's somebody watching now. There's somebody in the world watching now that's going through something, and they needed a word. They needed to hear something. They needed to hear, they can't go into the church. They can't go into the mosque. They can't get the spiritual thing, right? So I said, God, let my words be your words. Let my ways be your ways. Let my intentions be your intention. Let you speak through me, and let me speak, so that way I can be a word for a young man or a young woman right now that's watching and said, man, I just needed to hear this, big dog. I just needed to hear it, because I'm at the end. I fell off the cliff already. I'm hanging on by the rope right now, and I'm watching, and I need some help. So I got the Most High to speak through me. Let me be the vessel, because I understand. I understand. If don't nobody understand, I understand. I understand. So that's where you're not going to get transparent videos like this in Black YouTube. It is what it is. It is what it is. I have to do the work. So when I'm doing live and I'm talking this FBA stuff, and I'm saying that you teach people how to treat you by the way you treat yourself, I began to love myself. I didn't love myself because I felt like my mama didn't love me. And that wasn't true. My mama loved me. I didn't know that my mama was sick. They didn't tell me. I just thought that my mama left me and she didn't love me. So when I looked at myself in the mirror, I didn't love what I saw. I looked at everybody else and they had a mom. My dad had his mom, my grandma. I said, looked at God and said, well, what the hell? I was angry. Why don't I have a mother? And I never, ever realized, C-Mac, that consciousness and behavior manifested itself into my life everywhere. I didn't know that. I never knew that. I didn't know that it helped create the mental health issues that I dealt with. I never knew until I found out, C-Mac. I never knew. And a lot of you out there are suffering from this too. Maybe your father, maybe you've been molested, maybe you seen murders, maybe you had a cousin killed in front of you, right? Maybe you just seen some things that you can't get past those past circumstances, and you're living your life today through those past circumstances. And I'm here to tell you that it's more to life than just than just your past. Your past right now, your past is dictating your future right now because you fail to deal with the issues of your past. You have undiagnosed trauma and you've never dealt with your past. So your past now is walking out in front of you. The problem with it is people can see you coming a mile away. You come online and you traumatize. All you want to do is argue with everybody. All you want to do is see the worst in everything. Right? So now because a man did something to you, it's all men. Because a woman did something to you, it's all women. That's trauma. You coming online, rah, with people you don't even know. You think that that's normal? You're sick. Something's wrong with you. That's what I'm telling you. Something's wrong with you. It's not normal. It's not normal. So, you know, they told me in the church one day that I was going to preach, and I never wanted to preach inside of a church, like be a preacher. I want to give the word. I want to give it in my way to the youth and to our people, and helping our people grow, because our community, yeah, we need reparations, but we need one big cry. We need the Black community, Black African American, the foundational Black American community. We need one big hug. We need one big hug because we got a lot of traumas, man. We got a lot of traumas, man. And I know a lot of people, like you see people, they want to come in and argue. The reason why they want to come in and argue with me, because that demonic spirit inside of them don't want to come out. That spirit inside of them know that I'm talking something that's going to see. Evil and good can't live in the same space. And I'm casting out demons with words. My words is piercing to those demons that's living inside. And they don't want to leave. It wants to continue to control your life. It wants to ruin you. It wants to consume you. It wants to keep you in a perpetual tailspin of pain and lack. And I'm calling things out. I'm calling it out. So it's going to make you fight and rebel. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, you just, no. I know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to keep talking just like this. I'm going to stay right here. And I might time you out, but I know you're still watching. And we're talking to that spirit inside of you that got to change. It got to change. We're calling it out. It got to come out of you. Because I'm going to tell you right now. Before we get out of here. If you keep going in the manner in which you're going, you could be Shamar Elkins tomorrow. You could be Justin Fairfax tomorrow. Don't get it twisted. You could be that tomorrow. You don't know what anxiety, depression could do to your mind if you allow it to fester and linger. You don't know what it can morph into. Guess what? Black mamas kill their babies too. They unalive themselves too. It could be you tomorrow. Again, we can't bring back those babies. We can't. But we can talk to the living. We can talk to the living. So this video was just to for people. This video was for those that got an ear to hear and let them listen. If you ain't ready, then you ain't ready. I can only disseminate or deliver the message. Yep. Right, the ones that yes, artists sometimes to turn out to be the yes, yeah, that's a great comment. Man, that's a great comment. The ones that fight you the hardest sometimes turn out to be your greatest warriors. Yes, yes, yes. Because that demon inside don't want to come out because it knows how powerful you are. It's kind of like this, it's this metaphor, the story of Paul. They already know. Listen, when that demon don't want to let you go because this person won't be a soldier for God. Man, they can be raised up and turned around and about face the right way. Man, we in trouble. And I was one of those. That's why I stay steadfast on what I believe and what I teach. I keep telling you, you gotta love on your brother and your sister. Sometimes as a black man, when a black woman walk up and just say hi, sometimes you'd be surprised what that do to a psyche of a brother. Or you just walk up to a sister and say, hey, you women are beautiful. And just walk away, don't want nothing. Or just walk past your brother and say, how y'all doing? I always make it. When I walk past a group of black men, when I'm walking down the street, I always speak to them. How y'all brothers doing today? You'd be surprised. At first, you get a little, and they by, hey, brother, how you doing? I speak to, I see sisters. I say, how you doing? Or your hair is so beautiful. I just say, I make it. I go out of my way to do those things because I had to teach myself how to be loving to my own people. And you'd be surprised what it does to the spirit, what it does to the soul. Because in our communities, we're supposed to hate each other. We're supposed to get women pregnant and don't be around. We're supposed to abuse the way the system is set up. We're supposed to be the worst of the worst. We're supposed to be hyper aggressive and sexual and killers. And that's why they promote us that way. So I always go the opposite way. I went the opposite way. I said, I'm going to get me a wife. I went and got a wife, and I gave my youngest 2 children something I never had, a mother and father in the house, a loving family in the house, something I always yearned for and desired. God said, I'm not through with you yet. I know, son, that you didn't have it, but I'm going to allow you to give it to your son. See? So I didn't get everything that I wanted, but I'm getting it back because now I'm able to be a father and I'm able to have a wife to be a mother to my son that I didn't have. That's why I keep telling you, when you guys hear me tell you, you have to think futuristic. You have to be a seed planter. You may not get to the promised land just as Moses, but when you plant the seed, those coming behind you will. You can destroy those generational curses when you understand who you are and choose to want different. I wanted different for myself, so my children didn't have to grow up in the circumstances that I grew up in. I forgave my father. I forgave my mother. I forgave my family. And understood who I was, and understood that I was responsible for who I was going forward, and I was responsible for the woman that I chose and my children, and creating a better life for them, and also creating a better life for myself. When I understood who I was, when I understood what I wasn't, I started to think futuristic. Prior to that, I didn't have the ability to think futuristic because I couldn't get my mind out of my circumstances. I couldn't get my mind out of the world that I thought only existed. And by the grace of God, I was able to get out of it. So I'm telling you, when you see this, when you see this, when I decided to choose life, I produce life. I produce my legacy. I produce my new legacy. When they read my eulogy is not going to say he died in the gutter in a shootout with guns ablaze. Because I wanted different, and I learned how to choose different, and I manifested a new legacy for myself. So I'm telling you, brothers and sisters out there that may feel like you at your wit's end and you don't know whether you're coming or going. I'm telling you, from your brother, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There is another side. There's another whisper in your ear as well, telling you to just come on over here. Come on over here. You are not those circumstances. We can't bring Shamar Elkins back and the woman, the children, the woman, the two women that's clinging to life. Justin Fairfax's wife, they're gone. But those that are still living, that may feel like at any given minute, those pipes can burst from all the pressure. It's more to life than just that. It's life on the other side. I did streams like this 7 years ago. I talked about this, and a lot of people didn't care. They didn't show up. So I felt compelled to do a stream. I haven't done a stream like this in 5 years. I said, you know what? This is my new channel, one of my newer channels. I'm going to do a stream today. I'm going to see how many people show up. And I'm glad that we got some people in here, but I'm just doing God's work. I'm being obedient. This morning to do the work. So put this back here. You know, I do a lot of content. I post a lot of content to make money to feed my foundation, to do for the children. But my real content on my other channels, this is what we do. This is what I do. But I do the other content to make money because I gotta feed our nonprofit Urban Nerds for inner city youth. We go in and we help these inner city youth. We got the Man to Man every Tuesday. We at the Fathership Foundation where we have black men come in with their children. And we sit down and we have conversations, man. We have real in-depth conversations, man. And I learned one day, I'm going to say this before I go. One day I was talking and I was going off, preaching. And this black woman stood up and cussed me out one day. Hold on. This black woman stood up and cussed me out. Well, she told me a new one. And I couldn't understand. I'm like, why am I getting cussed out? I'm out here helping the community. I'm doing this. Let me tell you what this black woman told me. She looked me right in my face and she said, I hate you niggas. It ain't the white man that killed both of my sons. It's you niggas that killed my sons. And I looked at her and I had no comeback for her. And she just was going off and was screaming and howling and crying. Both of her sons was murdered. All she had was a daughter left. And that day I went home and I remember I told my wife about it. And then next Tuesday we were in the man-to-man talking. And I really looked around. I understood just how traumatized as a people we are and how we've been conditioned to hate each other. Black people, because of our trauma, hate each other subconsciously and consciously. We hate each other more than the W man. Despite his 400 years of oppressing us and our communities, we don't understand the grand architect is creating the environment that's causing the issue. We don't see that. We're judging each other based off of being inside the circle and hurting each other. These young black boys that's unaliving each other every day, they don't care nothing about no white man. This and his op is another man that looked like him. A sister maybe that's been abused or essayed and all this kind of stuff. The hatred is for each other. And that's why we can't come together. That's why we don't trust each other. That's why we can't love on each other. Because we say that we love each other, but we don't. Subconsciously, we are traumatized by each other because the system we're behaving the way we was designed to behave for other people's financial gain. Your behavior is in lifestyle is set up for other people's gain. Your dysfunction is profitable. Your hatred towards each other is profitable for other groups. And I got a rude awakening that day when I was talking. And that black woman stood up and said, I hate you niggas. And when I unpeel it, I knew that she didn't hate us. She was hurting. She was devastated by the death of both of her sons at the hand of a black face. She was devastated. Now, I could have been mad at I didn't do it. No, I felt compassion for her because I understood the conditions of my people because I come from it. She was in a lot of pain. A couple weeks later after that, she saw me again at the foundation and she came up and gave me a hug and apologized to me. And she thanked me and Dr. Wilson and a lot of the brothers out there that's doing the work. But she's in pain. And there's a lot of black mothers all over this country that's just like her. Millions of them. That's just like her. She can't see past her pain. The only thing that can save her is the Spirit of God and her getting to a place where she can make the choice. It's hard. And so if you take that mama and she feel that way, imagine the black boys that's out in the street every day who his friends, both, you got the home. So you got the mama, both her sons is unalive, but then you got the friends, both of their friends are unalive. So now their ops, the enemies are other black boys. So as a black mama, those black boys' ops are your sons, and they're out to kill your sons. And it's just a cycle. It's just a cycle. It goes on. Yeah. And that's not the totality of the black community, because Justin Fairfax wasn't a shooter. His brother went to Harvard. He went to one of the best schools. He was part of the black elite Boumé class. So don't think because you up here that you're void of black issues. No, being black in America is to always be angry, no matter what social status you on or economic status that you're on. Because America will go out of their way to let you know you black. Family members will mental issue. Yeah. Let me put that up there. Yep. He said how to cope. I'm late, but I'm here. And I have experience living with family members with mental health issues and how to cope with it. Yeah. So that's all I wanted to say. I just wanted to just do this video. I wanted to be able to just get one video in the middle of, because I know that I'm telling family in the gender war, when y'all click off of here, I want everybody to leave a comment. But when you come back later on tonight, look at some of the nasty comments people gonna leave. People want to leave some of the nastiest comments because that's just the way it is. But in this gender war, I wanted to be able to put this in the middle of the gender war and I wanted to have a different perspective coming down the middle. That's all I wanted. It's not about saying Justin and the other guys right. It's just about coming in with a different perspective. All right. So remember, I love my people more than they hate themselves. And I pray to the universal creator Most High that these words are enough to inspire you. These words are enough to make you look at yourself in the mirror and make change. These words are enough to make you look at your children and know you have to make change. I hope that when you came here for information. And when you leave here greater than what you was before you came. Right. It's time we gotta really have a conversation about mental health, man. At the water cooler, on the job, pillow talking with your wife, sitting at the table with the family. It's okay to sit down with your son or your daughter and ask them, are they okay? Ask them, are they mentally okay? How are they doing? How is school? You know, it's okay to ask questions. It's better to ask questions than just to be silent and don't ask anything. It's okay to ask your wife if she's okay. It's okay to sit down if you're not having a good day and say, baby, I'm not doing good today. I'm not doing good today. And just listen. It's okay. It's okay. It's not a weakness, black man, to go to your church or to your mosque or go to the brothers and say, yo, I'm not doing too good. I need help. You'd be surprised. There are brothers out here that will help you. They're not going to laugh at you or look at you as weak. You will be surprised. It's okay to say, hey, man, Hey, I know I got the car. I know I got the women. I know I got the money in the bank, but I'm at my whip. I don't know at any given minute, man. Listen, I'm about to explode. And people might look and say, "But you got everything," but that don't mean anything. I'm losing it. It's okay. You'd be surprised. The minute I raised my hand, my whole world changed. I said, I got a problem. I didn't believe that people cared or saw me. I said, I got a problem. And just right there, the Most High opened up the doors and the arms embraced, and my life changed. That's all I'm saying. All right. So remember, I love y'all. Till the next time. Peace.